Hey y'all, welcome back to Dots and Beyond. My name is Beth. Today we are going to be setting up a travel journal, but this one is specific to weekend getaways. Let's go ahead and get started. I have been wanting to set up a travel journal for a little while now, but I haven't been traveling. Most of us post-COVID during the pandemic have not been traveling, but I have a weekend getaway coming up, and I thought that I would put together a travel journal specifically for short-term trips. 4 days max, maybe 5, just those little getaway trips to replenish your spirit or for a specific event. I have one coming up that is going to be for both, so we're going to go ahead and set this up. This is an Archer and Olive traveler size notebook. It was in the fall release from 2022, and I knew I had to have it because I collect globes and other things like this one right here. And I'm going to do this fairly quickly. I have made a bunch of printables, and then I just don't know how my daily journaling is going to manifest. I haven't kept a travel journal since I was a kid. I grew up overseas. We globetrotted a lot. My dad had us keep a travel journal. Haven't done one in a while. And so I thought I'll do this one for the weekenders. If I take any major trips, my goal is to set up a travel journal specifically for that very large trip to dedicate to that trip and not split them up in separate journals. But I do like the idea of keeping the weekend getaways in a single one. So we're going to keep this pretty much focused on North America right here. So Canada, the US, maybe Mexico. Don't have a clue how that's going to all work out. And then I also kept some things in here that are very local to my state and maybe some things that I want to do in my state. Like I said, I have a bunch of printables. I went with a very graphic black and white setup for this. We're going to add some color with some stickers, and I've had these stickers forever. These ones from Stuck On Creations were actually gifted to me in another sticker thing that I picked up. Had them forever. Have, they're not, these pastel colors are not normally my thing, but we're going to use them today. I have these color palette stickers. They have circles, rectangles, in purples and pinks. Pretty sure I got these from Notebook Therapy. And then we are going OG Archer and Olive. These are from maybe the first quarterly subscription box with Archer and Olive, the travel one that had the big red compass notebook, which I adore. I have never used these stickers. I still have them. Hopefully they're still sticky, because we are finally going to use these original OG Archer and Olive stickers as well to get a little bit of a color to break up that black and white graphic. And then we'll talk about the trip that I have coming up. So here we go. We're going to open right up to this first page here on Archer and Olive. It's going to be a little bit difficult for me to get that to lay flat. And I am quite literally just going to paste these in here. I just thought this was cuter than this book belongs to, so that I can put my name, my phone number, and my email in there. I actually haven't decided if this is going to travel with me on my upcoming trip so that I can fill it out there, or if I'm going to come back and then compile my thoughts, my pictures, whatnot, and put them in. I don't know if I need my phone and my email in here in case it gets lost. We're going to put them in there anyway, just in case, because I haven't made that decision. This is just regular label paper. It is A4 full sheet white label paper, which is my favorite. I keep it around and use it an awful lot when I'm creating my own sticker sheets and things. And then of course this quote just says, "Then one day when you least expect it, the great adventure finds you." To stick these into the journal, I do like to just loosen a little bit at the top so that I can get it placed, and then we'll pull this sheet off. Obviously these are separated, and we'll come back in and pull this second one off here in a second. It'll get a little bit closer. I originally sized these to be exact with the corner rounder and everything, and then I trimmed them just a little bit smaller even. I was like, they don't have to be exact. It'll make life easier on me if I'm not trying to match it up perfectly, and I can just put it down in the middle of the page and have it fit wherever it fits. So you see these are already separated. We're just going to grab this other little corner and then smooth it down so that it goes in nice and clean. And then we have this one as well. And there is that cover. I do want to add in color here and there. That we are going to look at these stickers. Obviously some of these are date specific, but we can put in one of our little moons. I'm going to put this globe down here in this corner. I'm going to use these tiny pink dots on either side of the word least. We're just guessing. They don't have to be perfect. And then I think I'm going to put this little washi strip partially down here. And we may have to trim that off. Yeah, we will. But we'll just put it under Ewan McGregor's name there and trim off that little bit. I don't want too much because again I did do this black and white very stark graphic on purpose, but I do want to just add a little touches here and there to soften it. I may come back to some of these pages after we go all the way through and stick in little bits and bobs in other places. Let's go ahead and turn the page. This is that page that I normally glue together because it's where the first dotted pages are glued to the binding. I'm actually going to use this to stick in two other printables. This first one is one of my core values, and I have hopefully my elemental life operating system based around the elements video coming this Wednesday if I can get it pulled together. It takes a little bit more editing, that one does, but my spirit or aether core value is adventure, and I wanted to put that into my journal. This is actually the phrasing that I have in my goal system in Notion for adventure. It says it brings a sense of vitality, intensity, and energy into all my endeavors. Adventure has an uncertain outcome. Adventure forces me to think bigger about who I am. Adventure is stepping into the unknown. And this is one of those things that I grew up, again, a globetrotter, hopping around the planet. And in my adulthood as a single parent, I have not always had the opportunity to take advantage of that. And now that my boys are grown, I can start devoting some of my resources, instead of taking care of them, to taking care of my spirit, my aether, and doing some of that travel that I have missed out on for, 28 years or so now. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to align this up. Hope we get it in there so that it falls straight enough. We've got another piece of sticker paper we got to pull off there. It's way up. Like I said, we don't need perfection here. We're just going to get it in. And in my elements, spirit system, aether falls in the center of the compass. So I just designed this compass with a little heart on the inside of it. And then I thought, in addition to this is my journal, I would put in a page of when this journal starts and when it ends. So it's going to start here at the end of October for me, and then it'll run through however many weekend trips I do, and they're not going to be frequent, so this might actually last me quite some time depending on how many pages I fill out for each one of my adventures. And some of those adventures might even be day trips around my state, but I want to be intentional in documenting them. So even if I take a trip to a waterfall, for instance, I want to come in and make a page of it so that I can document that little adventure. So here we have a black and white globe, which is what kind of complements this one with the lighter colors on it. And we're going to stick a couple of things here as well. Each one of my core values is assigned a color, and my color for aether or spirit is purple. So I'm going to take one of these purple sticker sheets and just give myself a little hint here to that purple reference. This is also a great place to maybe sneak in some of these florals, these quintessential Archer and Olive florals. I think I made this mark with my fingernail, and if you ever do that, you can mostly erase those. Those sticker sheets do come with some phrases. I'm going to stick this one up here that says Adventure Time, not to be confused with the animated show. And then we're going to take this little gold moon and just have him here above our Earth, as well as some of these stars. I do have tweezers. I should probably be using those. Let's see if this is a little bit easier. I also have the bendy, super pointy ones, but I'm always afraid I'm going to stab myself with them. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do for that page for now. And then we're ready to start getting into the sort of meat and potatoes of our weekend journal. On this side, I'm going to put a list of reasons of why short getaways are good for you, just as a reminder. On this side, I am going to do a bucket list of places in the US that not necessarily that I haven't been to, but maybe I haven't been back to as an adult or even since my college years, and they're just places that I want to revisit. The one thing that I did do is create headers for myself for these sections that are kind of just going to be lists. So this one is titled What We Live For, and this one is titled Road to Nowhere. The fun thing that I did do with these page headers, and y'all know I love my music, is that they are each a song title. So What We Live For is a song by the American authors, and that's what I'm going to put, the benefits of weekend travel. And then, oh, that's the wrong one for that. And then this one that is my bucket list, Come Away With Me, is a song by Norah Jones. So let's go ahead and get this filled in. What I did decide to do for these two lists was actually use these numbers, because I'm never going to use them for like a monthly setup or to put in, 1 through 31 on a month. So I am going to go ahead and number these with these. I went ahead and put a circle in the spot to sort of guide myself. That circle, I hope, is a little bit on the larger side so that I can erase it once I get all of these in place. For the writing on the page, I do have a Pigmamicron that is pink. It is a little bit hotter of a pink than what this looks like, but we're going to use that for make some of the things stand on the page. And then otherwise, I'm just going to use my everyday pen, my Sharpie S Gel. Okay, so there is some of my initial bucket list. It's longer than this. This is all stateside. I have San Francisco, New Orleans, Eureka Springs, very cool city here in Arkansas that Beth has never been to, and I can drive there. And Savannah, Georgia, I left space for some more. And then over here in the What We Live For section, I have easier planning, fewer logistics, less time off work to take a weekend getaway, more cost effective because it's a shorter stay. It's easier to find deals, especially things here in the US like flights. And depending on your resources, if you're that type of person who has a travel budget tucked away, I don't have that yet. If you do, you can grab those deals when they're available to you because you have the money stashed away and ready for that. That does take a little bit of privilege. I do recognize that. It's a break from routine. You interrupt the monotony and get a fresh perspective on life. It's a test run. You can co-travel with somebody and find out what their traveling habits are like right before you take a longer trip with that person. Or you can go to a place that you think you want to spend a longer time in, spend a weekend, see if you enjoy it, and if that's not a city or a place that really fits your vibe, maybe you don't need to take a week-long trip or longer to explore that location. Mental health, this is a big one for me. Short breaks reduce stress, it gives you a change of scenery. Those are all good for you in so many different ways. Flexibility, you can plan on some short notice, like I mentioned before, if you can grab those deals. And you have freedom of spontaneity because you're not planning to fly 15 hours or 20 hours to get to the destination of your choice. Variety keeps trips diverse and exciting and encourages creativity and quality time. So I love road trips. I love them by myself because I like quality time with myself. I also like road trips with other people because it puts you in close proximity where you can have the devices turned off and really have a conversation. And I love the randomness that comes up with that quality time when you are put in those sorts of situations. Let's go ahead and stick a little bit of decoration on this page. I'm probably not going to put a whole lot on here, but we do want to add just a little bit of color to go along with our headers and our numbers. The more I got to looking at this and realizing that I have these icons on here, the more I didn't want to put a competing sticker up there. So I think for now, I'm just going to leave these the way that they are. And I stuck a little bit of a sticker down here in the corner. And we're going to go ahead and move on. The title of this page is going to be Road to Nowhere, which is a song by the Talking Heads. Almost lost my header there. And this is going to just be a map of the US. So I have these pieces of this map that I made to sort of fit. Originally, I was just going to cut it right down the middle so that it could fit easily one side or the other. And then I got to looking at it and I was like, well, I really don't want to cut the east side of Texas off on the east side of Oklahoma. So I did cut up those borders and then kind of outline them a little bit in black to make them stand out on both sides. This one is going to overlap this way a little bit. It's going to be tricky to get that down into the corner and see how that fits. And then we have the eastern side of the US, and then Alaska and Hawaii I'm just sticking down here. I also had to cut off part of Alaska's archipelago because the islands run out here a little bit. And it's just so that I can, starting with this journal, start marking those places that I have been in this new chapter of my life. So I'm going to go ahead and get these stuck in if I can. This one's going to go in a little bit okay. This one's going to go in great. This is the one that we're going to have to work with to get it into this seam a little bit. And I did give myself a little bit of an outline of where I wanted to stick that down. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect as long as I can see my states. I think that's going to work okay. I definitively wanted to be able to see between the two. I didn't want to put it down as one piece, so that's going to work for me. And then let's get Alaska and Hawaii, our non-contiguous states, on here as well. And for those of you maybe not familiar with the United States and where everything is, I am pretty much right there. So this is the state of Arkansas. Little Rock is basically the capital right in the middle of the state, or close to it anyway. This is going to give me some room for maybe some of our larger stickers, like this Adventure Awaits balloon. Hold that up just a little bit because I'm going to use one of these clouds and I wanted to be able to put the cloud underneath the balloon. So here is our cloud sticker. Just going to nestle that right in there and put our balloon back over it. And then have one of the smaller clouds go over top of our balloon. And then I just put in a couple of our little dot stickers. Again, stickers are just to add a little bit of visual interest to my pages. And I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do this depending on where I go, because maybe I don't want to color in an entire state. I might start using a metallic pen and a star stencil to indicate the places that I have gone. I don't know. It's just a way for us to track that, because most of these shorter getaways are going to take place within the United States, and probably not even Alaska or Hawaii. I think those would be big trips. But they're there because we don't want to leave them out. Moving on, and this is my Arkansas Traveler page, because again, that is the state in which I live. And fun fact, the Arkansas's tagline or motto is that we are the natural state. And it is that way for a reason. I know people think of places like Colorado when they think of hiking and nature and that stuff, but here in Arkansas we have one of the greatest state park systems in the country. We have beautiful state parks, and I am going to list, totally put that on crooked, but that's okay. I am going to list all of our state parks on here, and many of them I have been to. when I started doing events in Arkansas, I started at DeGray Lake Resort State Park and used to do weddings and family reunions and that sort of thing there. And I've been to many of these, but I would really love to hit, there's 53 of them. I'm not gonna hit them all in a year, but I want to be more intentional about getting out to some of our state parks and seeing what they are about. Many of them are archaeological, and some of them are just beautiful. I'm not much of a camper, so I do like to go to the ones that either have a lodge or that I can just take a day trip to and do things in. One of them here is called Petit Jean, and it has beautiful waterfalls, so I don't have to camp. I can go up for the day, hike to a waterfall, and experience nature without having to sleep in a tent. To differentiate between each line of a state park, I am going to put a dot with a dot marker. These are the shuttle art ones. Got these off of Amazon. I also have some Zig clean color dot markers. But we're going to do pink and gray and alternate all the way down, and then I'll come fill in the names of our Arkansas state parks. Okay, y'all, so there are our Arkansas state parks, and I do have a small printed map of the state parks of Arkansas that I was going to put here, and for the life of me, I cannot find it. I don't know when I was cutting my stickers if I accidentally threw it away or where it went. But if I'm going to have to reprint it, I'm going to wait until I print another sticker sheet of other things and put it on there so that I'm not just wasting the sticker sheet. But I am going to put a map of the Arkansas state parks down in this corner just so that I have it for reference. And it's not very detailed. It's just the shape of the state and then the little state park icon every place that there is a state park. Most of these do have the words state park behind them, like Millwood State Park. I didn't always write that because some of them would have just been too long. Of note, if you were to ever come to Arkansas, I would recommend that you definitely visit Crater of Diamonds State Park. So the Crater of Diamonds is actually the only location within the United States that naturally forms diamonds. It is a state park. You can go dig for diamonds. If you find one, you can keep it. I have never found one. That's just the way it rolls. But many other people have. Google Crater of Diamonds State Park. Look at the diamonds people have found. White diamonds, yellow diamonds, brown diamonds. Large, small. I highly recommend you go after it rains because everything gets churned back up to the surface, and that's when most people find their diamond. Another one I would recommend is the Ozark Folk Center, which is right here. If you want to see what life was like on the prairie or in the frontier, then the Ozark Folk Center is for you. There are some very talented individuals who still make horseshoes and blow glass and cook with all of the cast iron in their period dress. It can be very fascinating. And then Pinnacle Mountain State Park is one of the closest to me. They call it a mountain, but it is a very definitive hill. Kind of looks like the Lone Mountain out of The Hobbit because it is in the Arkansas River Delta flatland, and then there is just a peak. It almost looks like a pyramid, a man-made pyramid that's now been covered with dirt. Just stuck out there in the middle. Great hiking there as well. So I will again put a map of the state parks of Arkansas here, and I'm going to stick a couple stickers up here just to liven up the page. I think I'm going to keep with our celestial. Have Arkansas down at the bottom and make this top part just the night sky. All right, there we go. Like I said, just make a little bit of a night sky. And this is just a reminder that wherever you live, there's always things that you can do that are close to you in order to boost that level of adventure. Even if you are not getting on a plane, taking a 10-hour car trip, getting on a train, there's always something you can do. I thought about putting also a list of places within my city, within Little Rock, that I have not yet explored. I decided to not do that this time. Maybe I'll stick it in another one, but I just thought it would be a little too much for me to have both the state park list as well as the Little Rock list in there. But along with the state park list, I decided I wanted to have a waterfall list because Arkansas has some very beautiful waterfalls. And this song title is Every Teardrop is a Waterfall from Coldplay. So I'm going to go ahead and very much replicate what we did with the pink and the gray on this page here and put in these waterfall names. And then to do something just a little bit different now that we have our waterfalls in play is I thought it would be interesting that if I'm going to be doing these weekend getaways, at least if they are to a different city or a different part of the country, that I would try to read a book set in that location. And so the title of this page is Ramble On, which is a song by Led Zeppelin. And I'm gonna make our similar list here and go ahead and put in one book that I have already purchased in anticipation of my upcoming trip. Okay, and my upcoming trip is to Denver, Colorado, and I looked for books that I might be interested in reading from Denver, Colorado. There are a lot to choose from. There were a lot of different websites that were like, read this book if you're going to Denver, or the best books set in Denver, Colorado. But I am a bit of a rock chick. It is my preferred genre of music, although I do listen to most things. In anticipation of setting up this journal, I am drinking out of my Colorado mug as well. Let's all take a drink. And that book is Rock Chick by Kristen Ashley. It is bigger than I anticipated it to be, but this is the book that we are going to read. And of course I don't want to just leave this as a boring page, so we're gonna stick a couple stickers on here as well. We're gonna use these binoculars because they allude to reading a book. Alright, that is it for my Ramble On or reading page, as well as our Arkansas waterfall trail. Most of these actually came off of a Southern Living list that was one of the first things to pop up in a Google search, and it was a great one. So why reinvent the wheel? I just added one or two more to that list. Okay, our last full page is going to be a packing list. And for weekend getaways, the goal is to pack light, right? To try to fit it all into a carry-on. You don't have to pay the extra luggage fees unless you're flying Southwest and they let you bring luggage anyway. But I have named this page Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas, because what else would I name it? Okay, so this is not an all-encompassing list by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a good one when it comes to packing light for just a few days. And what I put on here is I have clothing, and the first thing I put was versatile. So you want to have clothing with you that can be used in a multitude of ways, that you can use as layers if necessary, because if anything I have learned in my travels when I was young and a little bit as an adult, you just really never know what the weather is going to be, regardless of how much research you do. So we have versatility: your underwear, your socks, your sleepwear, swimwear, gym clothes, if those are the type of person that you need those things, light jacket or layers. I remember being in Germany in August one time and the weather changed suddenly. It became drizzly. All we had were summer clothes, my parents, so we had to go find places to buy light jackets because we just weren't expecting to be in 50-degree weather in August. And lesson learned. I am not a big shoe person. Keep your shoes minimal. You're traveling, you need some walking shoes. You're going to need some flats and sandals. That would be your sort of dress-up outfits or nighttime outfits if you want, because they're flat. They're flat. They don't have heels. If you're traveling for business, that might be a little bit of a different story. But keep your shoes minimal. Unless you're going hiking, then find a way to get in those hiking boots, or, because you don't want to buy a pair when you get there and try to break them in, because that's not going to be fun on anybody's feet. Toiletries and travel size things, all the things for the teeth, the deodorant, the skincare, the hair shit, prescriptions, first aid. Take a little first aid kit with you, band-aids, that sort of thing. Makeup, super minimal. When it comes to traveling and makeup, and I am just going somewhere for a weekend, I tend to buy the stick that you can use for blush, eyeshadow, and maybe even your lips. So I'm only carrying the one thing with me if needed, and then some mascara and some foundation, or even just a BB cream. That's not even, keep it simple. Electronics, phone, charger, headphones, watch, and then other essentials also include some electronics. I have books, e-reader, or tablet. If you don't need to take work with you, don't drag the laptop. If you need to, take an iPad or some other tablet. ID, passport, credit cards, and cash. When you're traveling, always have a little bit of cash on you, and keep it somewhere other than you keep your ID and your credit cards and those things. You may need it, trust me. Collapsible water bottle, because you can't take a full-size one on a plane anymore, right? Unless you buy water after you get through your paycheck and you're behind security and then you're tossing that bottle. Get a collapsible water bottle. Journal and pen, reusable tote bag that you can use in the location that you are going to, because they fold down really tightly. And then I put purse/backpack. I always carry a backpack, so that would be my carry-on, or the thing that I put underneath the seat, as well as my carry-on, so that I have all the things that I need with me. And in that carry-on, have your prescriptions, have your absolute essentials, things that you cannot replace on the other side. You can put your makeup in a bag that might get lost, because you can buy more makeup on the other side of that flight. Those things that you have to have with you, make sure you have in that bag that you carry on your person. All right, and then we're ready to start going into my getaway section. So I created just another sort of cover page to go here. It looks like this. And it says, if we were meant to stay in one place, we would have roots instead of feet. And I know that there are people who are homebodies. My mother is one of them. When my parents moved back to the States after living in Kenya for 30, 40 years, however long that was, she wanted to set up her nest and stay there. She was done with traveling when that happened. I need to probably trim just a little bit off here. I might have to get that off of there later. But yes, once my father was the Globetrotter. He was in the Navy before he went into mission work, and we lived in Africa. And, he loved to travel. That is where I get my love of travel. I don't like to stay in one place, and I have been in one place quite literally long enough, which is why it's time for me to start traveling again. Okay, and the only other thing to do is on the other side of this, I am going to put this cover page that I have made for my upcoming trip to Denver. I'm just going to smooth that down, and I just made myself this cutesy little boarding pass from Little Rock to Denver with the mountains and the Denver skyline. This quote says, "And there in the blue air I saw for the first time, far off, the great snowy tops of the Rocky Mountains. I had to get to Denver at once," by Jack Kerouac. Now, what I'm planning to do beyond this, I think I am going to go ahead. I've penciled in a to-do list I have a working to-do list that I have with the friend that is traveling with me to Denver. And we are building an entire weekend or 4-day stay around one singular event. And that is that we have tickets to Queen with Adam Lambert in Denver. And so I've gone ahead and printed this out. I'm not sure where this is going to fall in my Denver planning, but it is here for me when I am ready for it. And as we kind of finish pulling our to-do list together, I will put a list in here of things that we maybe want to go and see in Denver, as we have never traveled together. So this is another one of those things that I wrote here that is a test run to see if we will travel well together. Although we do have a lot of the same similarity, we have had conversations about this trip. We are both the wandering type of traveler. We don't like to take scheduled tours. We like to explore a place on our own, get to know it, hang out where the locals hang out, that sort of thing. So I will put the dates that I'm going to be in Denver on this line here. Obviously, I'm not going to do that right now. I mean, you could see where my tickets are and know at least one day that I'm going to be in Denver, but I'm going to put the dates here on this boarding pass section, and then we will just explore Denver from there. So flipping back to my little weekend Wanderluster journal, here we have a cover page, the nameplate that I have created, my core value of why this is important to me, as well as the start and end date of this particular journal. Again, that list of reasons that it is good to travel, even on short trips. My bucket list, so to speak, of places in the US that I want to visit, where I can start marking off those places that I can do weekend trips to. My Arkansas list for the state parks here in Arkansas, in this great Arkansas state park system that we have, as well as some of the waterfalls that I would like to visit. My reading list to correspond with the locations that I want to go. And of course, just a very short, not a full comprehensive, but a very short carry-on, what's going to go into my carry-on list. And then this is where the getaways start page, beginning with Denver, which I am going to here very shortly. And that is my weekender quick getaway travel journal. As I stated, if I am taking much longer trips, I think I would be setting up a journal for each one of those so that I could really journal in it, not just here we were today, but put in pictures, put in thoughts of that place each and every day, how I feel that day, so that I could fully document that longer journey. But this will be great for just the weekend getaways. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, drop me a travel emoji down in the comments. It doesn't matter what it is. Airplane, globe, car, train, any sort of travel emoji. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.